Caitlin Strempel here with Rising Ranks Digital. Today we're going to be introing you to human design. And it's essentially a better way to understand yourself so you can better serve others. And specifically today, we are going to talk about how you personally need to be making decisions in your life and in your business to ultimately lead a more aligned life and a more aligned business. Who does not want that? To live a life and make decisions from a place that feels really good. So number one, I want you to pause this. And this is why I'm not doing this live today. I'm actually recording this, is because I want you to pause this and go pull up your human design chart. So you just Google free human design chart. You're going to need to know your birth time and your birth location. That's very important. If you do not have your birth time or location, look it up on your birth certificate. If you don't have a birth certificate or don't know where it is, this might not apply to you. However, at least not specifically, but overall, you'll get the theme. So stick with me here. Or if you can't find it now, let's just walk through this together and then go figure out your human design chart and come back and revisit this. This is something that you will want to revisit and you will want to take notes. So we're going to do a quick overview today on what human design is and the human design chart, and then get into the meat and the potatoes of this amazing presentation. And we're going to talk to you about how you personally are supposed to make decisions. It's different for everyone. All right. So who am I? I'm Caitlin Strempel. I am the CEO of Rising Ranks Digital. We are an SEO agency and also a digital consulting firm. And we have a method that, I use personally, which I'm going to walk you through. And human design is an integral part of this. I am a consultant for high-level businesses looking to hit 7 figures, but I've also been trickling down into the entrepreneur who is really looking to hit 7-figure years. I've worked with tons of different brands. I've worked with a ton of local companies, solopreneurs, all the way to international powerhouse brands. Some of them are Under Armour, Lexus, Yahoo, Olay. And then I've been featured in several different places, but these are just, some of the top ones that I wanted to get in front of you today. So first and foremost, I want you to know me. And, for when we work together, I like to make sure that we are totally and completely aligned because, again, it's working with the energy that really drives business. So if we're not aligned together, then, in the end, you're not going to be as successful as you need to be. And you need to find somebody that you truly align with. So first and foremost, I believe that Black Lives Matter. There's no exceptions to that. If you don't believe that, then you should probably just stop here. We are not meant to work together. My work is probably not for you. I believe that if we champion for the success of others, that our own success is inevitable. We are all intertwined together. And that's really why I changed our company name to Rising Ranks. It's going with the theme of a rising tide really lifts all boats. And I fully, wholeheartedly believe that, and that I feel that we're all intertwined. And if one person is successful, then just ultimately we're all going to be successful in the end if we truly work together. And then I believe that the most successful marketing comes from the inside out. So working with your highest vision, tuning inward and making decisions from your body, not your mind. All right. So what is my soul method? It is a perfect combination of feminine and masculine energy. It's how you run your business and it's specifically how you really truly show up in the world in your marketing. So we start with the spirit and the soul. We get into what feels good to you, what your big vision is, what your team is like, and the structures you have in place. It's very the feminine side of things. And this is where human design comes in. It's fully understanding who you are, how you show up to the world, and where you want to go. Then we observe. We go into essentially consumer and target market research. Then ultimate ideation, creating a really great message for your brand or campaign that embodies the spirit and the observation. Once you have that main North Star kind of driving message, that driving force, we can get into listing out and launching a marketing plan that encompasses all of it. So we get into how you're going to drive awareness, how you're going to connect with people, how you're going to close the deal, and how are you going to continue the relationship once they become a a client with yours. And that's really the essence of my clients reaching these 7-figure months. But it all starts again with the spirit, which fully encompasses everything. And within that is human design. And that's just one little aspect, but that's the one thing I want to touch on today. I think it's really important to get in tune with who you are and how you show up for this world. So understanding yourself, it's the key to success, and it's actually the quickest way to success. And it also means that you will find not only success in your business, but you'll find happiness and complete fulfillment in your life beyond business, in your everyday life. Understanding yourself is important because you need to figure out what you're good at, what you can improve upon, what your opportunities are, and where you really shine. So a lot of people, they have energy going everywhere. It's harnessing that energy and focusing in on what you truly are meant to do here in this world and what you're born into in regards to what your strengths are. And then it's how you need to show up for people in a way that feels good to not just you, but to them. And human design does get into that. And it teaches you how to make decisions that are right for you and your business. And that's, again, where human design comes in. And you probably are wondering, what the heck is human design? A lot of people, it's been more of a trend lately, so more and more people are learning about it. But a lot of people still don't know about it. So let me tell you what it is. It is overall pretty much a personality test and your astrology on steroids and combined. So think Enneagram, think Myers-Briggs, think astrology charts, but literally putting it all together into some crazy, intricate, amazing thing that is just, it's your own personal blueprint. It tells you how people energetically perceive you. So that will help you make decisions on how you're supposed to show up on Instagram, how you're supposed to speak with people, how you make decisions. This is huge. And again, what we're going to talk about today, it tells you what you're good at, what your life's purpose is, and how to get there. Everyone is born into this life with a purpose. Not everyone makes it to their purpose. Not everyone figures that out. Human design helps you do that. And just in general, it helps you live in alignment as your true self. It helps you run a business that is aligned with your true and highest self. I mean, and again, if that doesn't feel good to you, I don't know what does, because to me, that is everything. And if you are a business owner, this is why you went into business, to create a life that feels in flow, that feels really good and just freeing. Yeah, so when we live in alignment, we begin to experience a level of comfort and acceptance for who we are instead of chasing who we're not. So a lot of gurus out there will say that you need to do this method and this method and this method to get over here. Human design is taking it back and saying, no, that might not be right for you. It might be right for you, but it might not. It all starts on the inside of you. And that really comes from an understanding of who you are. So sorry, I went off on a tangent. And we're able to live out our real purpose in the world, which is what we want to do, is live out our purpose and feel good. Okay, so if you actually did pause this and you went to go look at your body graph, human design chart is interchangeable with body graph chart. So it's the same. I'll say them again interchangeably. This is mine. I want to show you what it looks like. If you haven't paused this, then this is essentially what your human design chart is going to look like. You are going to get a person with colored in, you might not have colored in, it's either going to be white or colored in shapes. And then you're going to have all these numbers. So yes, get super intricate. Don't be scared. We are really just only going to be talking about this today. When you are a personal client, we go into all of this, and it is amazing, down to how you are supposed to be manifesting things, which is determined by this arrow right there. But again, today we're talking about our inner authority. That is how you make decisions. And there are 7 different ways to make decisions. We call it your inner authority. So there's the emotional authority, the sacral, the splenic, the environment, the self-projected authority, the ego authority, and then 1% of the population has no authority, or lunar authority is what we call it. So let's jump into emotional authority. This is about half the population, and it means that we have an emotional wave. So through the day, it actually could be weekly or daily, but you are going, if you have this authority, so 50% of you probably here have this authority, it means that you have an emotional wave, that you feel sometimes bluesy, maybe not like, I don't want to say like sad or depressed, but you just kind of get in the bluesy moods. And for me, it's a daily, and it's in the morning. Sometimes it's during certain times in the week, and it's for no reason. You just kind of like are feeling like grumpy, and then sometimes you get on these really big highs. But you really want to make sure that if you have this authority, that you are making decisions, not right away, that you are sleeping on it. And even if you get a job interview or a job offer, and they're saying, hey, this is what we're paying you, like, do you accept? And even like right away, you're on this high and you're like, yes, tell them you want to sleep on it. Just say, hey, let me get back to you within 24 to 48 hours to really make sure that's what you want. And also, some people might be scared to do that because they don't want to lose the job, or they might not think that the other person will like that. But your aura, if you have an emotional authority, automatically your aura, people are going to actually really be okay with hearing, let me sleep on it. I'm not ready to make a decision. They are going to accept that and actually really like it. It's going to intrigue them more. It's going to like pull them in and want you more. So make sure you really are saying and sticking to that sleeping on it. So you want to make sure that you make a decision. You get to the low that we talked about, then you get to the high, and then you make sure that you're in a neutral place, and then you make the decision. You want to ride the wave first and then get to a neutral spot before making a decision. So people don't make this. If they don't follow this, ideally you're going to make a decision when you're in your low, and it's probably going to be a no, and you're going to come back and be like, damn it, like I really wish I said yes, like I really regretted that. Or you're going to say a yes when you're in the high, and you're going to come back the next day and be like, damn it, why did I commit to that? Whatever it may be, however big or small. And I know that if you have an emotional authority and you did not follow this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I used to do it all the time. Okay, so your sacral authority. So a lot of people have this, not as much as the emotional, but your sacral really comes, it's your instant gut feeling. And it's all about, you have an aura that brings things to you. So you don't need to go like push and push and push to bring things to you. Things, if you are living in alignment and if you are having fun and in flow, things will just come to you. And it's up to you. When they do come to you, it's your instant decision it's your instant feeling of if you should make a decision on that or not. So let's say somebody comes to you and is like, hey, do you want a turkey sandwich right now? And if you're like, no, like I don't want to do that. And that's like your ultimate, like, you go with that feeling, and that's like a very trivial decision to make. But if you haven't been working with human design, start there and then go big. So, so if you are that person that gets the job offer, go with your gut feeling. If you're like, yes, this is the job for me, then go for it. If it is neutral, that's very important. So maybe you're just kind of like, okay, I could do that. Or if it's a no, then it's a no. Neutrals are no, you guys. If it's not like a hell yes, like in your gut, don't go for it. Divine timing is trying to work with you to take you to your purpose. So let's work with it and practice using sound. So this is really cool. So this authority is pretty vocal. So you want to make sure that if somebody comes to you and it's about the turkey sandwich, you're like, oh yeah, like practice actually saying the sound, like bringing it up, like bringing it out of your gut into the world. And that will help you make decisions, especially if you're new to human design too, on if it's like the right one for you. So even if it's kind of like, hey, you want to go to the bar tonight and, go dancing, you're like, no, like follow that like instant, like, that will help you make the decision. Okay, splenic authority. This is more guided intuition. So it's not really a gut feeling, but it's more of like an inner knowing, which is slightly different. It's a lot quieter. So you're not going to have the, oh yeah, yeah. You're just going to have that instant quiet knowing of what you should do. It could come spontaneously too. You could be out there and you could just get an inner knowing of like, hey, I have a feeling that I should be doing this right now. Go with that. And it's really important to really tune inward, because that splenic authority, that answer for you is going to be quiet and quick. And it usually comes once and then disappears. So you want to make sure that you are really trusting yourself. It's important to trust yourself and know that, by having this authority, it just gives you permission that inner knowing, like, yes, like that is meant for you. It's meant for you. It's there. Human design is telling you this. You don't need to go look outward for anything. It's all inward. And a lot of people who have splenic authority are typically the people who come back and say, oh my God, I knew that was going to happen. I just had a feeling. Like that is splenic authority right there. And again, it's going to be probably more spontaneous, whereas with sacral, it's things coming to you and it's like that instant gut feeling. Whereas like your splenic authority, you're just thinking about it. It could be right away. It could be also, maybe a few days from now, but you're going to get that quick hit. And that's where you want to make your decision. Environment authority. A lot of projectors have this. So this is interesting because people with environmental authority, they really want to get into their minds and think with their heads and overthink. So we are here not to make decisions from our head, but truly from our soul and our heart and our guts. But for the environment authority, it's very important to make sure that you're not thinking with your head. You want to get into a space. So if you have a room that just feels so good for you, for me, it is Wyatt's room. It used to be his nursery, but I used to go in his nursery and just like love it there. So you want to make sure you're going into a space that feels really good for you. Typically, you want to be alone because this type of person can take in a lot of conditioning, or they can be empathetic to other people. You want to make sure that you are just in a space that feels really good for you. If somebody is there, that person feels really good to you. And you want to make sure that they're not pushing the guidance here, that, they're just kind of there to help you observe. And the environment must feel right. It must feel expansive and safe. So again, it's kind of like, if it's a neutral environment, it's probably not the best for you. You want it to be like an amazing environment to get in there and just kind of like pick up cues. Like you'll get some messages just from being in a really great environment of what you should do. Self-projected authority, if you have this, is also called a G-center authority. It comes from right here and more of like your heart area. And this is all about talking it out until you find clarity. It's listening to your voice. So these types of people, actually it comes like more from the throat. Sorry, I'm getting confused with the ego authority. So the self-projected authority comes from the throat. And you want to make sure that you're speaking. And my friend has this, and it's actually really funny because she used to always be like, well, what should I do? Should I do this? And just keep on talking about it. I'm like, oh my God, girl, just make a decision. But literally, that's how they have to make a decision. People who don't have this, it's very hard for them to understand. People who do have this, now that you know that you have it, make sure you're using your voice. Talk it out with other people and let them know, just be like, hey, I don't even really necessarily need you to talk back to me. I just need to hear my voice. And make sure you're actually listening to your voice. Maybe you're even recording your voice, and that's how you'll find clarity. So when you're talking about, maybe you are deciding between two different jobs, and you're talking about the pros and the cons of each, go back and listen. And in one instance, in one decision, your voice is probably going to be a little bit different than the other one. And you just need to talk it out in order to make that decision. So again, when it comes to that turkey sandwich or just a sandwich in general, you can go to someone and be like, hey, I'm not really sure. Like, I'm really hungry right now. Do I want a sandwich? Does turkey sound good? Does ham? Ooh, ham. Like, you want to just really get into talking to yourself and becoming in tune with actually listening to your voice. Okay, so your ego authority, so it's kind of similar to that regards, but it's coming really from your heart, and it's more of speaking out, but you really can't control it. So this is going to be where you are just saying it in the moment and you're going with it. It's like the first thing you say and you're like, oh yeah, that's what I want. Versus self-project is more talking about it and getting it out in the environment. Maybe other people are around, but yeah, you're talking about it and talking and talking and talking until you find clarity. Here, you say it and you're like, oh yeah, that's what I want. You go with the first kind of thing that you say that you want, So maybe it's just kind of like, oh, that turkey sandwich sounds good. Okay, stop there. The turkey sandwich is your decision. It's all about what you say, and you really don't want to try to control this aspect of it. This is kind of a little bit more controlled in a sense, but this is just kind of like way more spontaneous. Okay, so lunar authority, 1% of the population. For the people who aren't this is going to sound crazy, but I've worked with people and they are just kind of like, whoa, this makes me feel so good. So lunar authority is waiting a whole 28 days. They actually don't have authority. It's very hard for them to pull anything from inside of them because they take in so much of their environment. And this is really important to get the full 28 days, especially for bigger decisions like buying a house, wanting to have a baby, so, wanting to move to a different state, like make sure that you are really working within those 28 days. And you really want to tap into and feel every outcome of like, what it would feel like to live in Texas versus what it would be like to live in California. And maybe you actually go there and you feel out both places. Like maybe you go for a weekend and just really getting a sense of, hey, it could feel like this or it could feel like that. That's going to be really important to these lunar authorities and really tapping into them actually going into the environment and feeling it out in every single outcome that could be possible. Like I said, going to Texas if you want to move to Texas or, going to California, like testing them both out. And you can even talk about it for 28 days and just really meditating on it too, meditating and really feeling into how it would feel in each outcome. So those are the 7 authorities. That is a lot, you guys. And if you're new to human design, that might be like, whoa, just go back, look at your human design, really tap into what your authority is. And don't even worry about anyone else's, but you can go Google lunar authority. If that's your authority, There is so much information on it if you actually go and like go down the rabbit hole, but you have to go down the rabbit hole. Things online aren't typically the best for this. It's going to be more of podcasts and things like that. But overall, pull it all together, you need to tap into what feels good for you and not driving with your mind and overthinking. It's really driving into what do you truly, really want beyond the mind. The mind is typically here just to observe and take in information and be like, whoa, this is a really cool ride I'm going on. Whereas human design is telling you that actually, no, in order to get to your purpose in life, you need to make decision from your authority, whatever that is, whatever one of those are. And again, those are very general, what we just talked about. It gets so much more specific when you work with us one-on-one and really dive into your human design chart. And again, I'm going to say it. I say this all the time. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. No matter what your authority is, no matter if you even know what your human design is. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I'm not talking about like a hell yes from like a brain standpoint, but like a yes from your body, your soul, and all of that good stuff. If you guys have any questions, I am here to support you. Feel free to DM me, send a message to me, comment below, share this if this was helpful for you. If you're watching this and you're not on Facebook, in our Facebook group, come to the Facebook group. This is where we dive deep into all of this stuff. All right, so yes, if you're not on Facebook right now, go to our Facebook group, search Rising Ranks. This will pop up, Rising Ranks Digital, and then you can also go to this URL right here. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoy this. And I want to know, how are you going to change making decisions? What is your inner authority? I just want to know that. I love hearing and seeing other people's designs. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Chat with you soon.